any node on the Azure Marketplace. This chapter will walk you through the necessary procedures, configurations, and best practices for a successful deployment of any node on Microsoft Azure. We will elucidate the distinction between the template and the VM, virtual machine, offering, and subsequently, we will guide you through the deployment process for each option, step by step. Microsoft Azure is a fast-growing cloud infrastructure platform, and all this capability and power is great for applications such as any node you want to run on Azure. You should consider Azure as your SBCS home because of the following advantages. Ease of deployment. The Azure Marketplace provides a streamlined and straightforward deployment process, making it convenient for users to set up any node on their Azure infrastructure. Integration with Azure ecosystem. Leveraging the Azure Marketplace ensures seamless integration with other Azure services and resources, facilitating a cohesive and efficient environment for communication solutions. Scalability. Azure's scalability allows users to easily scale any node based on their evolving business requirements. This ensures that the solution can adapt to varying workloads and demands. Security and compliance. Azure adheres to robust security measures and compliance standards. Deploying any node through the Azure Marketplace helps ensure that your communication solution benefits from Azure's security features and compliance certifications. Performance optimization. Utilizing Azure's infrastructure enables the optimization of any node's performance. Users can take advantage of Azure's global network and data centers for enhanced speed and reliability. Cost efficiency. Azure offers various pricing models, allowing users to choose the most cost-effective options for their specific needs. This flexibility helps in managing expenses efficiently. High availability, achieved through global geo-redundancy, ensures that any node remains accessible even in the event of a localized outage. This means that the platform continues to operate seamlessly, offering uninterrupted service to users, irrespective of potential disruptions in a specific region or data center. Azure has a vast global presence, allowing users to deploy any node in different regions to meet specific geographic requirements and improve communication performance on a global scale. Any node on the Azure Marketplace, template and VM offering. Please note, the menus and terminologies at Microsoft Azure are subject to change at any time. When you search for any node on the Azure Marketplace, you will find any node, the software SBC, as a template and as a VM offering. Both options are validated as a preferred solution on the marketplace by Microsoft experts. Before deploying your Azure machine, you need to decide which operating system will fit your requirements best. If you are a Windows Pro and prefer to work with the Windows Server environment, we would recommend the template option. If you want to work with Debian and Linux operating systems, we recommend the VM offering. When choosing the VM offering, you need to maintain the operating system. Our deployment team must create the VM and upload this to the marketplace, including the whole distribution package. If the VM template was created 3 months ago, you will receive all operating system updates from these last 3 months. Maybe a restart of this VM is also necessary. The advantage of this option is the speed of the deployment. Internally, this is just a file copy of the image. To conclude, think about the operating system first. There will be no significant difference in the features between both offerings. Check Microsoft Azure subscription. Log into Azure with your Office 365 account. You should first check your Azure subscription in your Azure portal. Click on the Subscriptions button in the Azure Services. You will get an overview of your subscriptions. If needed, click on Add button to create a new subscription and fill in your subscription details. Select an Azure plan to determine the subscription type to create. Click on the Review plus Create button to create your new subscription. If you currently do not have an active subscription or wish to add a different subscription type, select one of the available offers. If you haven't yet taken advantage of the free trial, you can explore it at no cost. Option 1, use the template in Microsoft Azure. We will start with the template deployment. Please note, this is a bring your own license offering. You need to buy an AnyNode license or use your AnyNode subscription license. Search for AnyNode in the upper search field. Click on AnyNode, the Software SBC, Template Edition. You will get an overview with some useful links. Click on Get It Now. In the next step you will be asked which operating system you prefer. In this case, we have selected Windows Server 2025. Please note, it is recommended to choose the latest available operating system. Click on Continue. Start the creation process by clicking the button Create. Select your subscription to manage deployed resources and costs. An Azure Resource Group is a logical container into which Azure resources are deployed and managed. You must select a resource group that shares the same lifecycle, permissions, and policies. Select an existing resource group or create a new one. For test purposes you should create a new resource group. This simplifies the complete deletion afterwards. In our example, we choose the resource group Masterclass. Our practical tip, when naming the resource group, consider ending it with RG, such as AnyNode RG, to facilitate easy identification of the resource group based on its name later. Choose the Azure region that's right for you and your customers. Not every resource is available in every region. Make sure you select the correct region of the deployment to ensure you have the shortest way to your PSTN provider. Microsoft Teams media gateways are available in most areas automatically. The username and password are necessary to log into your VM later via remote desktop. Make sure you remember the credentials. Passwords should not contain reserved words or unsupported characters. They must include at least one lowercase letter, one uppercase letter, one number, and one special character. The password length should be between 12 and 123 characters. Click on Next for infrastructure settings. Create a new storage account with Create New and fill in a name for it. When naming your storage account, it is crucial to adhere to the universally applicable rules for a URL. Only lowercase letters are allowed, and no special characters or spaces are permitted. Please consider these guidelines during the naming process. We will use the default values. With a session border controller there is normally no intensive drive access. The standard type is suitable for most deployments. Click on OK. Click on Change Size to change the size of the virtual machines here. This will affect how much money you pay for your VM monthly. Depending on your region selection, you have multiple options available. Please note, not all models are available in all regions. Also, pricing for the same model may vary in the different areas. We recommend B-Series VMs for test purposes and F-Series for production systems. You can switch between the models later. The F-Series are optimized VM sizes that have a high CPU to memory ratio. If you have a busy contact center and you need the entire number of concurrent calls all day, the F-Series is suitable because it guarantees power consistently. For our deployment example, we have chosen the B-Series for AnyNode. Click on Select. You should use a public IP address if you want to communicate with the virtual machine from outside the virtual network. Click on Create New. You can typically adopt the default settings with ease. For the utilization of certificate issuance providers such as Let's Encrypt, you should choose the assignment setting depending on your DNS provider. If you are using Microsoft as your DNS provider, leave the setting at the default value, Dynamic. However, if you are using a different DNS provider, select the Static option. Confirm the inputs by clicking OK. Insert a DNS prefix for the VM public IP address if you need it. With a click on the Review plus Create button, Azure will make a final validation. Click on Create to finalize your deployment. Wait a couple of minutes before you get some details about the progress. Finally, you are ready to go when you see the completion of the deployment. Click on the Go to Resource button. Network Hardening Template with Windows Server 2025, Firewall Rules. In the overview of your resource group, click on your newly created virtual machine. Navigate to your network settings in the left menu. In our example, this deployment comes with pre-configured inbound port rules for RDP, HTTP, and Microsoft Teams. It is recommended to prevent all unnecessary external access to the VM. If this is not possible, for example, if any node is the only machine in the network, access to the any node frontend should only be allowed from the configurator's IP address. Deleting RDP access for your Windows Server 2025 VM with any node in Azure should be considered as part of a comprehensive security strategy to protect your resources from unauthorized access and potential security threats. If you do not need external access via RDP to the VM, Azure provides alternative access methods such as Azure Bastion, which offers secure, browser-based access to VMs without exposing RDP ports to the public internet. Please note that there is a difference between deny and delete. Deny means that traffic is explicitly blocked. If a rule is set to deny, any traffic that matches the conditions of that rule will be rejected or blocked. On the other hand, delete means that the rule is removed and no longer active. When a rule is deleted, it has no further effect on the traffic flowing through the firewall. Navigate to the RDP inbound port rule. Click on the trash bin icon to delete the rule. Confirm with the Yes button. The inbound rule Teams_SIP is a predefined inbound port rule in Azure Network Security Groups, NSGs, that is specifically designed to allow SIP, Session Initiation Protocol, traffic for Microsoft Teams. This rule typically allows inbound traffic on TLS port 5067, which is commonly used for SIP signaling in Microsoft Teams for activities such as establishing and managing calls. The predefined inbound port rule Teams_RTP in Microsoft Azure refers to a specific rule that allows inbound traffic on the Real-Time Transport Protocol, RTP, port used by Microsoft Teams for audio and video communications. Please check your ports and change them if needed. If you don't use Microsoft Teams direct routing for this deployment, it is recommended that you deny the Teams inbound rules. To use a certificate issuance provider like Let's Encrypt in any node, external access to any node is necessary. In such a scenario, it's essential to allow HTTP traffic from the Internet. This rule is also predefined. By enabling HTTP traffic from the Internet, you enable vital communication from the certificate issuance provider to the any node instance. This ensures the successful issuance, renewal, and validation of SSL/TLS certificates for your deployment. Certificate issuance providers employ various validation methods to verify control over a domain before issuing an SSL/TLS certificate. One common validation method is the HTTP 01 challenge. The HTTP 01 challenge requires port 80 to be open in your firewall so that the certificate issuance provider can reach your system when needed. Port 80 should not be used by any other program on the AnyNode machine with the selected interface IP address. The port will only be opened when a challenge is initiated for certificate renewal or new certificate issuance. Afterward, the port will be closed again. The outbound rule TO_Teams_RTP would likely permit outbound traffic from your Azure resources to Microsoft Teams RTP endpoints, ensuring that communication for Teams meetings and calls can occur without obstruction. This rule is essential for ensuring that Teams functions properly within your Azure environment. To configure firewall rules for using other services with any node in Microsoft Azure, you need to allow inbound port rules from specific ports. Please refer to our specific guides for Zoom Phone, Cisco WebEx, and Google Voice, as they contain detailed information about the ports used for each service. Access your AnyNode frontend template with Windows Server 2025. Azure Bastion safeguards your virtual machines by offering lightweight, browser-based connectivity, eliminating the necessity to expose them via public IP addresses. This reduces the attack surface and mitigates the risk of unauthorized access. Upon deployment, a Bastion host is automatically generated on a subnet within your virtual network. Use the Connect button in the upper menu and choose Connect via Bastion. Bastion pricing starts at an hourly base rate. Click on the Deploy Bastion button. Select the keyboard language of the VM. Under Authentication Type, choose VM Password. Utilize the credentials you assigned earlier in the instance details. Click on the Connect button. You now have access to your VM with any node already installed. Simply use the pre-configured shortcut on the desktop to open the AnyNode frontend in Microsoft Edge. For more guidance on getting started with the AnyNode frontend, check out our video tutorial, First Steps. Here we go. You have successfully deployed AnyNode in Azure. Please note that you need to bring in and install your license for your AnyNode on Microsoft Azure. Our sales team will be happy to assist you. There is also a licensing video tutorial available. If you want to test AnyNode with a trial without obligation, the free AnyNode demo license is automatically available with each AnyNode installation. The demo license is limited to 4 sessions and plays a sporadic voice announcement. Also, the functions media pass-through and internal pass replacement are not available. Option 2. Use VM Edition with Windows Server 2025. If you like to work with Windows Server 2025 operating system, you can also use the VM Edition. Choose AnyNode, the software SBC, VM Edition. We recommend starting not with a preset configuration. Select a software plan with Windows Server 2025. Click on Create. Start in the Register Basics. Select your subscription to manage deployed resources and costs. An Azure Resource Group is a logical container into which Azure resources are deployed and managed. You must select a resource group that shares the same lifecycle, permissions, and policies. Select an existing resource group or create a new one. For test purposes, you should create a new resource group. This simplifies the complete deletion afterwards. In our example, we are using an existing resource group named Masterclass. Virtual machines in Azure have 2 distinct names, a virtual machine name used as the Azure Resource Identifier, and a guest host name. When you create a VM in the portal, the same name is used for both the virtual machine name and the host name. The virtual machine name cannot be changed after the VM is created. You can change the host name when you log into the virtual machine. Create a name for your virtual machine. Choose the Azure region that's right for you and your customers. Not all VM sizes are available in all regions. Azure offers a range of options for managing availability and resiliency for your applications. Architect your solution to use replicated VMs in availability zones or availability sets to protect your apps and data from data center outages and maintenance events. At Size, click on See All Sizes. You can select the size of the virtual machines here. This will affect how much money you pay for your VM monthly. Depending on your region selection, you have multiple options available. Please note, not all models are available in all regions. Also, pricing for the same model may vary in the different areas. Use the size recommended by the image publisher. If you plan to use Azure Bastion, recommendation, later for secure access to your virtual machine, VM, you still need to configure a username and password during the VM's initial setup. Select the credentials for your VM administrator account. The password must have 3 of the following: 1 lowercase character, 1 uppercase character, 1 number, and 1 special character. The value must be between 12 and 123 characters long. At Inbound Port Rules, select which virtual machine network ports are accessible from the public internet. All traffic from the internet will be blocked by default. You will be able to change inbound port rules in the VM networking page later. Denying RDP access for your Windows Server 2025 VM with any node in Azure should be considered as part of a comprehensive security strategy to protect your resources from unauthorized access and potential security threats. If you do not need external access via RDP to the VM, Azure provides alternative access methods such as Azure Bastion, which offers secure, browser-based access to VMs without exposing RDP ports to the public internet. By enabling HTTP traffic from the internet, you enable vital communication from the certificate issuance provider to the AnyNode instance. This ensures the successful issuance, renewal, and validation of SSL/TLS certificates for your deployment. Certificate issuance providers employ various validation methods to verify control over a domain before issuing an SSL/TLS certificate. One common validation method is the HTTP 01 challenge. The HTTP 01 challenge requires port 80 to be open in your firewall so that the certificate issuance provider can reach your system when needed. Port 80 should not be used by any other program on the AnyNode machine with the selected interface IP address. The port will only be opened when a challenge is initiated for certificate renewal or new certificate issuance. Afterward, the port will be closed again. Select None to confirm. Click on the Next button to continue to disks. At disks, you can choose between Azure managed disk types to support your workload or scenario. With a session border controller, there is normally no intensive drive access. The standard type is suitable for most deployments. Choose the standard SSD. Click on the Next button. At networking, accept the default values. Click Next. At management, you should disable the auto shutdown. AnyNode as an SBC is typically used to handle real-time communication, RTC, like voice calls and SIP signaling. The auto shutdown feature can stop the VM at a predefined time, causing a disruption in communication services. If the VM hosting AnyNode shuts down, all ongoing calls and sessions will be terminated abruptly. This leads to poor user experience and potential business interruptions, especially in environments where 24/7 availability is critical. The following settings are optional. You may proceed by clicking the Review plus Create button. Wait for the past validation. You will get an overview of the settings and pricing. Click on Create. Wait a few minutes for the complete deployment. Click on the Go to Resource button. You will get an overview of all essential settings and the status of your VM. Network Hardening VM Edition with Windows Server 2025, Firewall Rules. It is recommended to prevent all unnecessary external access to the VM. If this is not possible, for example, if AnyNode is the only machine in the network, access to the AnyNode frontend should only be allowed from the configurator's IP address. We generally recommend accessing via Azure Bastion rather than using an SSH client like PuTTY. In our example, this deployment comes with pre-configured inbound port rules for HTTPS and SSH. Deleting SSH and HTTPS access for your Debian VM with any node in Azure should be considered as part of a comprehensive security strategy to protect your resources from unauthorized access and potential security threats. If you do not need external access via SSH and HTTPS to the VM, Azure provides alternative access methods such as Azure Bastion, which offers secure, browser-based access to VMs without exposing RDP ports to the public internet. Please note that there is a difference between deny and delete. Deny means that traffic is explicitly blocked. If a rule is set to deny, any traffic that matches the conditions of that rule will be rejected or blocked. On the other hand, delete means that the rule is removed and no longer active. When a rule is deleted, it has no further effect on the traffic flowing through the firewall. In the overview of your resource group, click on your newly created virtual machine. Navigate to your network settings in the left menu. Navigate to the SSH inbound port rule. Click on the trash bin icon to delete the SSH rule. Confirm with the Yes button. To use a certificate issuance provider like Let's Encrypt in any node, external access to any node is necessary. In such a scenario, it's essential to grant the provider access to the VM through port 80. By enabling HTTP traffic from the Internet, you enable vital communication from the certificate issuance provider to the AnyNode instance. This ensures the successful issuance, renewal, and validation of SSL/TLS certificates for your deployment. Click on the plus Create Port Rule button and choose Inbound Port Rule. In the right menu, navigate to Service and choose HTTP. Click on the Add button. The following rules are only needed for users of Microsoft Teams Direct Routing. If you don't use Microsoft Teams, continue with the next subchapter, Access to the AnyNode frontend. We will now add the rule Teams_SIP. This rule is specifically designed to allow SIP, Session Initiation Protocol, traffic for Microsoft Teams. This rule typically allows inbound traffic on TLS port 5067, which is commonly used for SIP signaling in Microsoft Teams for activities such as establishing and managing calls. Microsoft typically provides documentation outlining the network requirements for services like Teams. You can check the official Microsoft Teams documentation. Look for information regarding the IP addresses or ranges used by Microsoft Teams. Make sure to keep the rules updated in case Microsoft changes or adds new IP addresses or ranges for Teams traffic. Repeat the steps to add the Teams_SIP inbound rule. At source, choose IP addresses. At source IP addresses/CIDR ranges, use 52.112.0.0/14, 52.120.0.0/14. At source port ranges, use 1024 to 65,535. At destination, use IP addresses. At destination IP addresses/CIDR ranges, use 10.0.0.4. At service, choose custom. At destination port ranges, use 5067 to 5077. At protocol, choose any. At action, choose allow. Accept the default value for the priority. At name, use Teams_SIP. Click on the Add button to continue. The inbound port rule Teams_RTP in Microsoft Azure refers to a specific rule that allows inbound traffic on the Real-Time Transport Protocol, RTP, port used by Microsoft Teams for audio and video communications. Repeat the steps to add the Teams_RTP inbound rule. At source, choose IP addresses. At source IP addresses /CIDR ranges, use 52.112.0.0/14, 52.120.0.0/14. At source port ranges, use 10.0.0-65535. At destination, use IP addresses. At destination IP addresses /CIDR ranges, use 10.0.0.4. At service, choose custom. At destination port ranges, use 10.0.0.0 to 13.0.0.0. At protocol, choose UDP. At action, choose allow. Accept the default value for the priority. At name, use Teams_RTP. Click on the Add button to continue. The outbound rule TO_Teams_RTP would likely permit outbound traffic from your Azure resources to Microsoft Teams RTP endpoints, ensuring that communication for Teams meetings and calls can occur without obstruction. This rule is essential for ensuring that Teams functions properly within your Azure environment. Choose Outbound Port Rule. At source, choose any. At source port ranges, use 49,152 to 53,247. At destination, use IP addresses. At destination IP addresses /CIDR ranges, use 52.112.0.0/14, 52.120.0.0/14. At service, choose custom. At destination port ranges, use 49,152 to 53,247. At protocol, choose UDP. At action, choose allow. Accept the default value for the priority. At name, use T_Teams_RTP. Click on the Add button to continue. To configure firewall rules for using other services with any node in Microsoft Azure, you need to allow inbound port rules from specific ports. Please refer to our specific guides for Zoom Phone, Cisco WebEx, and Google Voice, as they contain detailed information about the ports used for each service. Access to the VM with Windows Server 2025 via Azure Bastion, VM Edition. Azure Bastion safeguards your virtual machines by offering lightweight, browser-based connectivity, eliminating the necessity to expose them via public IP addresses. This reduces the attack surface and mitigates the risk of unauthorized access. Upon deployment, a Bastion host is automatically generated on a subnet within your virtual network. Use the Connect button in the upper menu and choose Connect via Bastion. Bastion pricing starts at an hourly base rate. Click on the Deploy Bastion button. Select the keyboard language of the VM. Under Authentication Type, choose VM Password. Utilize the credentials you assigned earlier in the instance details. Click on the Connect button. You now have access to your VM with any node already installed. Simply use the pre-configured shortcut on the desktop to open the AnyNode frontend in Microsoft Edge. For more guidance on getting started with the AnyNode frontend, check out our video tutorial, First Steps. Option 3, use the VM edition in Microsoft Azure with Debian. As mentioned before, if you like to work with Linux and a Debian operating system, you should consider using the VM edition. Choose AnyNode the Software SBC VM Edition. Select a software plan with Debian. We recommend starting not with a preset configuration. Click on Create. Select your subscription to manage deployed resources and costs. An Azure Resource Group is a logical container into which Azure resources are deployed and managed. You must select a resource group that shares the same lifecycle, permissions, and policies. Select an existing resource group or create a new one. For test purposes, you should create a new resource group. This simplifies the complete deletion afterwards. In our example, we are using an existing resource group named Masterclass. Virtual machines in Azure have two distinct names, a virtual machine name used as the Azure Resource Identifier, and a guest host name. When you create a VM in the portal, the same name is used for both the virtual machine name and the host name. The virtual machine name cannot be changed after the VM is created. You can change the host name when you log into the virtual machine. Create a name for your virtual machine. Choose the Azure region that's right for you and your customers. Not all VM sizes are available in all regions. Azure offers a range of options for managing availability and resiliency for your applications. Architect your solution to use replicated VMs in availability zones or availability sets to protect your apps and data from data center outages and maintenance events. At Size, click on See All Sizes. You can select the size of the virtual machines here. This will affect how much money you pay for your VM monthly. Depending on your region selection, you have multiple options available. Please note, not all models are available in all regions. Also, pricing for the same model may vary in the different areas. We recommend B-Series VMs for test purposes and F-Series for production systems. You can switch between the models later. The F-Series are optimized VM sizes that have a high CPU-to-memory ratio. If you have a busy contact center and you need the entire number of concurrent calls all day, the F-Series is suitable because it guarantees power consistently. For our deployment example, we have chosen the B-Series for AnyNode. Click on the Select button. Choose whether the administrator account will use the username, password, or SSH keys for authentication. In the interests of simplification, we select password authentication at authentication type. With these user credentials, you can later access the VM. Click on Next, Disks. You can choose between Azure managed disk types to support your workload or scenario. With a session border controller, there is normally no intensive drive access. The standard type is suitable for most deployments. With a click on the Review plus Create button, Azure will make a final validation. Click on the Create button to finalize your deployment. Wait a couple of minutes before you get some details about the progress. Finally, you are ready to go when you see the completion of the deployment. Here we go. You have successfully deployed AnyNode in Azure. Click on the Go to Resource button. Network Hardening VM Edition with Debian, Firewall Rules. It is recommended to prevent all unnecessary external access to the VM. If this is not possible, for example, if AnyNode is the only machine in the network, access to the AnyNode frontend should only be allowed from the configurator's IP address. We generally recommend accessing via Azure Bastion rather than using an SSH client like PuTTY. In our example, this deployment comes with pre-configured inbound port rules for SSH. Deleting SSH and HTTPS access for your Debian VM with any node in Azure should be considered as part of a comprehensive security strategy to protect your resources from unauthorized access and potential security threats. If you do not need external access via SSH and HTTPS to the VM, Azure provides alternative access methods such as Azure Bastion, which offers secure, browser-based access to VMs without exposing RDP ports to the public internet. Please note that there is a difference between deny and delete. Deny means that traffic is explicitly blocked. If a rule is set to deny, any traffic that matches the conditions of that rule will be rejected or blocked. On the other hand, delete means that the rule is removed and no longer active. When a rule is deleted, it has no further effect on the traffic flowing through the firewall. In the overview of your resource group, click on your newly created virtual machine. Navigate to your network settings in the left menu. Navigate to the SSH inbound port rule. Click on the trash bin icon to delete the SSH rule. Confirm with the Yes button. To use a certificate issuance provider like Let's Encrypt in any node, external access to any node is necessary. In such a scenario, it's essential to grant the provider access to the VM through port 80. By enabling HTTP traffic from the Internet, you enable vital communication from the certificate issuance provider to the AnyNode instance. This ensures the successful issuance, renewal, and validation of SSL/TLS certificates for your deployment. Click on the plus Create Port Rule button and choose Inbound Port Rule. In the right menu, navigate to Service and choose HTTP. Click on the Add button. The following rules are only needed for users of Microsoft Teams Direct Routing. If you don't use Microsoft Teams, continue with the next subchapter, Access to the AnyNode Frontend, VM Edition with Debian. We will now add the rule Teams_SIP. This rule is specifically designed to allow SIP, Session Initiation Protocol, traffic for Microsoft Teams. This rule typically allows inbound traffic on TLS port 5067, which is commonly used for SIP signaling in Microsoft Teams for activities such as establishing and managing calls. Microsoft typically provides documentation outlining the network requirements for services like Teams. You can check the official Microsoft Teams documentation. Look for information regarding the IP addresses or ranges used by Microsoft Teams. Make sure to keep the rules updated in case Microsoft changes or adds new IP addresses or ranges for Teams traffic. Repeat the steps to add the Teams_SIP inbound rule. At source, choose IP addresses. At source IP addresses/CIDR ranges, use 52.112.0.0/14, 52.120.0.0/14. At source port ranges, use 1024 to 65,535. At destination, use IP addresses. At destination IP addresses/CIDR ranges, use 10.0.0.4. At service, choose custom. At destination port ranges, use 5067 to 5077. At protocol, choose any. At action, choose allow. Accept the default value for the priority. At name, use Teams_SIP. Click on the Add button to continue. The inbound port rule Teams_RTP in Microsoft Azure refers to a specific rule that allows inbound traffic on the Real-Time Transport Protocol, RTP, port used by Microsoft Teams for audio and video communications. Repeat the steps to add the Teams_RTP inbound rule. At source, choose IP addresses. At source IP addresses /CIDR ranges, use 52.112.0.0/14, 52.120.0.0/14. At source port ranges, use 10.0.0-65535. At destination, use IP addresses. At destination IP addresses /CIDR ranges, use 10.0.0.4. At service, choose custom. At destination port ranges, use 10.0.0.0 to 13.0.0.0. At protocol, choose UDP. At action, choose allow. Accept the default value for the priority. At name, use Teams_RTP. Click on the Add button to continue. The outbound rule TO_Teams_RTP would likely permit outbound traffic from your Azure resources to Microsoft Teams RTP endpoints, ensuring that communication for Teams meetings and calls can occur without obstruction. This rule is essential for ensuring that Teams functions properly within your Azure environment. Choose Outbound Port Rule. At source, choose any. At source port ranges, use 49,152 to 53,247. At destination, use IP addresses. At destination IP addresses /CIDR ranges, use 52.112.0.0/14, 52.120.0.0/14. At service, choose custom. At destination port ranges, use 49,152 to 53,247. At protocol, choose UDP. At action, choose allow. Accept the default value for the priority. At name, use T_Teams_RTP. Click on the Add button to continue. To configure firewall rules for using other services with any node in Microsoft Azure, you need to allow inbound port rules from specific ports. Please refer to our specific guides for Zoom Phone, Cisco WebEx, and Google Voice, as they contain detailed information about the ports used for each service. Access to the AnyNode frontend, VM edition with Debian. You can now access the AnyNode frontend via the internal IP address. The device you wish to access the AnyNode frontend from must be within the internal network. If the device is not within the internal network, you can also access it via the external IP address. However, this must be allowed in the firewall rules and should only be permitted for specific IP addresses. In our example, we will show the access via the external IP address. Copy and paste the public IP address into your browser and add an https://. Upon the initial launch of any node in the browser after deployment, you will encounter a message with the HTTPS crossed out. This happens because the common self-signed certificate in any node does not match the IP you are visiting. Despite the crossed-out HTTPS, the connection remains secure. This persistent message is due to the browser not trusting the self-signed certificate from any node. Ignore these messages initially and proceed to set up the password for accessing the AnyNode frontend. We will address this issue shortly. Depending on your browser, click on the Advanced button. Click Continue to your public IP address. When you start any node for the first time after installation, you must set up an initial password for the default administrator account. The default username for the administrator account in the AnyNode frontend is always anadmin. The initial password must contain a minimum of 8 characters and should not include number sequences like 1, 2, 3, 4 for security reasons. The wizard will inform you during input whether the password is valid. Click Set Password. By agreeing to participate in our user experience improvement program, you can help us improve our product or service. Your feedback will enable us to enhance the overall usability and functionality, making it easier and more enjoyable. Experience Improvement Program, you can help us learn from you. Once you have made your decision, select Continue to proceed to the next step. You can now replace the certificate of the pre-configured HTTPS connector with your own certificate or request a certificate through the ACME functionality in AnyNode from a certificate issuance provider such as Let's Encrypt or ZeroSSL. For further steps, refer to our guide on Let's Encrypt and Company with ACME and AnyNode, the software SBC. Please note that a certificate cannot be issued for the public IP version for DNS name from Azure, as this DNS name is owned by Azure. You need to provide your own fully qualified domain name, FQDN, in this case. Subsequently, check the secure connection to your AnyNode frontend. In our example, the new DNS name assigned is anynode.lab.anynode.de. Please note that you need to bring in and install your license for your AnyNode on Microsoft Azure. Our sales team will be happy to assist you. If you want to test AnyNode with a trial without obligation, the free AnyNode demo license is automatically available with each AnyNode installation. The demo license is limited to 4 sessions and plays a sporadic voice announcement. Also, the functions media pass-through and internal pass replacement are not available. Access to the VM with Debian via Azure Bastion. Azure Bastion safeguards your virtual machines by offering lightweight, browser-based connectivity, eliminating the necessity to expose them via public IP addresses. This reduces the attack surface and mitigates the risk of unauthorized access. Upon deployment, a Bastion host is automatically generated on a subnet within your virtual network. The easiest way to access the virtual machine with AnyNode is the following. Use the Connect button in the upper menu and choose Connect via Bastion. Under Authentication Type, choose VM Password. Utilize the credentials you assigned earlier in the instance details. Click on the Connect button. You are connected to your VM now. It's important to note that when using Azure Bastion, you don't need superuser permissions to connect to the VM. Once you've established a successful SSH connection, you can execute superuser commands using the sudo command if needed. If you wish to stop and restart the AnyNode frontend, sudo s systemctl stop AnyNode fe systemctl start AnyNode fe. You can check the operational status using the following command: systemctl status AnyNode fe. Change the VM size. You can typically change the VM size in Microsoft Azure. The available options may be restricted by factors such as regional availability and specific VM size constraints. Always check the Microsoft documentation and the sizes available in your chosen region to determine the options for resizing your VM. Changing the size of a VM hosting AnyNode in Azure can potentially disrupt ongoing calls and communications. After creating a virtual machine, VM, you have the option to scale the VM up or down by adjusting its size. However, in certain cases, you may need to deallocate the VM first. Deallocation becomes necessary when the desired size isn't available on the current hardware cluster hosting the VM. In the upper menu of your virtual machine, click on the Stop button to deallocate your AnyNode VM. Activate Do you want to reserve the public IP address, and click on the OK button. With this option, the public and private IP addresses assigned to the VM will remain the same even after resizing. Azure uses dynamic IP assignment by default, so if you have a dynamic public IP address assigned to the VM, it will remain unchanged after resizing. Similarly, if you have configured a static, reserved, IP address for the VM, it will also persist through the VM size change. In the left menu of your virtual machine, choose Size. Then, select a new compatible size from the list of available sizes. Finally, click on the Resize button. If the AnyNode virtual machine is currently running, resizing it will trigger a restart. Click on the Start button. Congratulations on reaching the final stages of deploying AnyNode from the Azure Marketplace. Get ready to elevate your communication capabilities and empower your team.